Life is but a dream, it's what you make it.
Okay, now we're going to make my sauce. You need olive oil, enough to fry with. I'll show you later. You need breadcrumbs. You need 4 slices of white bread. You need a whole thing of garlic and a small onion. The wine is optional. You need 2 cans of Progresso peeled tomatoes with basil, 28 ounces, and 1 can of tomato puree. Grated cheese, garlic powder, basil, fresh basil is better, but basil leaves, pepper, and 2 eggs. This is the meat. I get 2 packs of hot sausage. I get a pound and a half of ground. I try to get sirloin, otherwise you get ground chuck. And always some lamb, either lamb pieces like this, lamb stew, a lamb shank, and make sure you trim off the fat. Now we start with the meat. You need a big frying pan, cover the bottom with oil, and I usually cook on number 7. I just cover the bottom of the pan with the olive oil and let it start to heat up. When I cut the sausage, I make it about this size, twist, and twist, and then cut it. While I've been cutting and swirling the sausage, I let the oil heat up. We're just going to brown it. This is going to cook in the sauce. And we're going to just let it sit on one side and then turn it and brown it all around. While that's cooking, we get the lamb ready. Whatever kind of lamb you use, try to get off all the fat you can. Because we don't want all this fat in the sauce. We start cooking the sausage, then we cook the lamb, and last is the meatballs.
How long does the lamb?
These gotta cook just till everything browns. These gotta cook a little bit till they brown. When you put the lamb in, sprinkle with a little garlic powder, not salt. And keep putting it in as you can fit it. I only put garlic powder on the lamb, and when I turn it, I'll put it on the other side. And it takes about 10-15 minutes to brown. And while I'm doing this, I get the ground chutney, put it in a bowl. You should really have at least a pound and a half. I'll take about 4 slices of bread, because this stretches the meat and also holds it together. And you put it under cold water. So it's all nice and mush. And throw it in the meat. Now, I'll put garlic powder, pretty heavy. I'll put black pepper. And turn in the sausage. Put a little more garlic powder. Put a little more garlic powder. Put 2 eggs into the meat. Grated cheese. Grated cheese. Take 3 tablespoons. Nice full tablespoon. Now before I mix this, I'm going to get my stuff out. Now when I drain the meat, I try to have a brown paper bag and some paper towels. And the meat will sit there and it will drain. Alright, this meat, some of it is pretty brown. I can take out some of it and make room for this other piece of lamb. Okay, while that's going to cook a few more minutes, I'm going to start the meatballs. Start with some breadcrumbs.
Some breadcrumbs, meaning
just a little shake, but you're gonna see, you gotta get it so it's not like mushy, that it'll stick together. So keep adding, I would say start with a half a cup. Fill a cup with breadcrumbs and just keep shaking it. I think a cup should be more than enough. But you don't want it to feel like mush, like this is mush. It's gotta be all together so they don't fall apart. You use up all the breadcrumbs. See, now it's getting nice and firm and they won't fall apart in the sauce. Okay, this meat's done. Now I'll wait until I take out the sausage and then I'll roll the meatballs. Take a piece of wax paper. Put breadcrumbs on top. And we're going to roll the meatballs and roll in the breadcrumbs and roll in the pan as we make room. And make the meatballs the size you want. Sometimes I start out small and I get tired and I make them big. Now these meatballs are going to be turned on 4 sides in this oil. See, if you put enough breadcrumbs, it won't stick to your hands. If it sticks to your hands, you got to put more breadcrumbs and mix it up. Okay, when I put the the meatballs in, I turn them. When both bottom and top are done, I put them on the sides. See, now we're going to do the bottom here. I gotta do the side here, and then you'll turn them to the other side. And I put olive oil in as I need them because I want the meatballs to be in the oil so they'll cook around. I'm gonna put a little more oil in a minute. I don't want all this oil, so very carefully I'm gonna spill out some. I want a little bit and I want those pieces in the bottom, because that's the flavor. Just a little bit. And don't put it back on the flame. Now, this is a food processor. Put the plug in. You take the bowl from the bottom. You put it on. There's a little notch here. Put it on and turn it towards your right until it can't go anymore. Put in the blade. Don't touch this. It is so sharp it will take your finger off. That fits over the center. Peel the onion. Just cut it into chunks and put it in here. You're going to use the whole head of garlic, but you got to get all this paper off it. And the easiest way is to use the back of the knife, smash, and the paper comes off. Smash. Alright, the chopped garlic, the peeled garlic, and the onion are in the food processor. You put the top on it. You move it, there's a little groove back here. You move it until that fits in the groove on the top. And then you just press when it's not in right. Process it until it's chopped up good. This goes back on the fire. And you put this in the pan and do not brown it and don't burn it. This only cooks till it gets what they sweat it. It gets like wilted. And the rest of this will go into the tomatoes because we're going to put the tomatoes in here. So while this is sweating, we put this back, put the blade in, put the whole tomatoes in here. Some people just smush them with their hands and use them like that. But my son doesn't like pieces of tomato, so I dump it in here. The other can. Don't forget that's 2 cans of tomatoes and 1 can of puree, and the puree is already mushed. Okay, put that at the top. And from this point on, you use a wooden spoon, because a metal spoon makes it bitter. There you go, it just starts to sweat a little bit. Put the cover back on, push it underneath. Now, I want to get all that stuff out of the bottom of the frying pan. So I'm going to put about a cup or a half a cup to a cup of wine. Yeah, I think a half a cup or a small cup. And when this starts to cook, all that good stuff from the meat is going to come up. And that gives it a really good taste. Get all that good stuff up. Then we're done with this. Now we're going to use the big pot. And I always keep a plastic garbage bag in the other side of the sink. So you can just keep throwing your stuff in as you go along. In here goes the juice from the tomatoes. The tomatoes that you crushed. And we'll put a little water, and we'll do that later, with the puree. When this is done, we dump this in. Just let it get everything off the bottom. But don't ever burn the garlic. Dump this in. This goes on the burner. And you turn this down. Now I want to put water in here. I'm going to start with a half a can of water in the puree pan so you get all those bits of tomatoes out. And then I take the tomatoes that were left in here, put that water in. I don't start it too thick, it's a little thick. I'll get this out with some water. That should be enough water. This is all good stuff. Into this, I'm going to put, if I had fresh basil, I would put fresh basil. If not, just all around the top, basil flakes. Black pepper. And a little salt. If you don't use the wine, put a teaspoon of sugar. But if you use the wine, you don't need the sugar. This is like a half a teaspoon of salt. Stir it up. And at this point, I'm going to put a little more water because it's very thick. So put a whole can. A whole can altogether should be enough. See how it's thick? This is bad. And you use this for your spoon. You put the cover on. Define it. Cover half the pot. Because when the pot is uncovered, the sauce thickens. If you cover it fully, the sauce just stays like water. So we put it half and half. And it's 11:01. You leave it cook for a half hour, come back and stir it. Then you put in the sausage and the lamb. Cook that in 1 hour with the cover the way it is. After that hour passes, put in the meatballs. Stir it in between the hours, stir it a couple of times. Put the meatballs in, stir it. Put the cover the way it was, cook it another hour. That's 2.5 hours. After that, 2.5 hours, turn off the flame, put the cover on fully, and do not touch it for 1 hour. You want to get this cooking. I put it on 7 now because it's just sitting here. When it starts to bubble, you want to simmer, just bubble a little bit, not boil, it'll burn. As it starts to bubble, you put it down lower and lower. You'll probably get to around 3 or 4, but do it gradually so you don't lose the bubbling. And just keep checking it. You don't want it to boil. Okay, you fill the pot 3/4 of the way with cold water. Put it on high. Cover it. When it comes to a boil, whatever the package directs, every pasta is a different amount of time. It's got to come to a boil. This is going to cook 10 minutes because it's thin as linguine. And when it boils, you put it in and keep stirring until it comes back to the boil. Leave it uncovered for the amount of time. And then you drain it, and that's it.